Welcome to Veterans Air, the Veterans Hour. We're coming to you live today from the Lone Star Community Radio Station in beautiful downtown Conroe, Texas. I'm your host, Douglas B., and along with my co-host, Dangerous Dan the Santa Man. That's right, Dangerous Dan is dressed as Santa today, and hopefully I'm going to try to do some videotaping during the show, and if everything goes right, you're going to be able to see the show as well as hear it in the archives next week. As always, we have a little housekeeping to do before we get started. You can contact Veterans Air through the website at www.VeteransAir.us or leave us a message, or better yet, text us here in the studio on our Google phone, 936-344-3083. Dan, how you doing today? Did you bring us anything?
I did. I brought us some pastries from Starbucks at Kroger.
Ooh, wait, okay, we have to take a break, as always, to see, because Dangerous Dan, the Santa Man, brought muffins. No, he didn't. He brought cake.
Cake? Oh, okay.
Oh, we got lemon loaf. Lemon loaf and gingerbread. Ooh, and chocolate marble. And you brought one for each of us?
Yes.
Dan, you know, you're the man. I just have to let you know. You really are.
Well, I mean, I dressed as Santa for a reason.
And he is, guys, folks, he is dressed just like Santa. And if you come on down here to the radio station, we have a window to the world today. Wave to everybody. Hi, window to the world today. You can actually see Dangerous Dan, the Santa Man. I'll even put on my Santa cap.
Yeah. Everyone will see me sweating in a minute. It's really warm.
Okay, we now have proper Santa caps on. Before we get started into the show, and I introduce our guest in the audience, in the studio with us, I want to take a minute and I want to remind everybody what tomorrow is. Do you know what tomorrow is, Dan?
It's Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, but it's also December 7th. And for those that might have forgotten, lest we forget, December 7th is the day that will live in infamy. It is the anniversary, the 75th anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor, if you guys don't remember. So I want to take a moment here and pause and give a shout-out to all of our World War II vets on your day, tomorrow, the 75th anniversary of Pearl Harbor. See, you learned something today. You didn't think you would learn something, did you?
No, you just made me feel horrible for forgetting Pearl Harbor.
As you should. As you should. All right, America, the election is over. America has spoken. But it seems the country is more divided than ever before. And I've got to tell you that the fallout over this election, the violent protests, the death threats against electorates, well, it's gotten my panties in a bunch. And since I have this soapbox known as Veterans Air, I decided that here on Veterans Air, we're going to talk about this. In the studio today, I am pleased to have with us Mr. Gary Hippensteel. Gary, did I say that right?
You did indeed.
And Gary, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, native Californian, but lived in Texas in the Woodlands since 1988. Basically, professional background is investment management. And sort of as a side light, we got involved with the Tea Party. And from that, everybody claimed they wanted to get back to the Constitution and the basic principles, but no one knew what was in there. They were educated guesses, but we actually went through and did a course on the Constitution, a 13-week course, and from that, we formed a splinter group called Constitution Education Foundation, and the objective is to promote the education and the principles of how we were founded. You got to know where we came from to know why we are the people that we are, and how the process originated. What was the original intent? And much of that is forgotten in the we'll call the post-election hysteria. And this is a great country, tremendous founding principles, and people ought to know it.
I totally agree. And thank you for coming. And reason why I asked Gary to join us today is because I'm going to get on my soapbox. And I'm going to talk about the election. Now you know, here at Veterans Air, we don't get political. We don't choose one party over the other. Dangerous Dan, the Santa Man's giving me this look. But we don't. We don't endorse a candidate one way or the other. But watching what happened to this country and watching what's happening still after the election, we have a problem, America. We have a real deep problem because the country is divided and it's not coming together. And people are screaming that they have the right for this and they have the right for that. And I have to tell you, I don't think you have the right because we have this document. And Gary, thank you, by the way. Gary brought me and Dan pocket constitution.
Yes. What I wanted for Christmas right here.
And that's it, people. That's what you need to read. You need to read your Constitution. These are your rights. You do not have the right to burn garbage in the street. You do not have the right to smash windows from a Toyota dealership and scream peaceful protest because your candidate didn't win. That's not a constitutionally protected right to destroy property. Is it, Gary? Am I wrong?
You're not wrong.
So, this is not a democracy, America. We are a democratic constitutional republic. And people seem to throw Republican democracy and around like they're interchangeable. They're not. They're two separate things, democracy and republic. We are a constitutional republic. We elect representatives that represent us for our government. So a community gets together and says, you are going to go to Washington and you are going to tell everybody else that we in this community want this. That's how a republic works.
But wait, Doug, I thought we were a democracy, honestly.
We are not a democracy.
I thought it was mob rule.
It's not mob rule.
Oh.
It looks like it, but it's not. Gary, jump in here at any time if we're wrong.
This is a contentious subject of democracy or republic, and you're very correct. We are a republic. In fact, through history, it's been misunderstood. I go back to Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Actually abandoned. There was a citizenship program in the United States Army and a manual, and inside the manual, it classified us as being a constitutional republic. And he was adamant that it was, we were a democracy, and he actually banished the program. So soldiers don't even know what they're fighting for anymore.
I'll agree with that. I really will.
And so it's just quite misunderstood, and so that is I think an important distinction.
It is, and I wanted to make that point because we're going to talk today about how we elect our president and the Electoral College. Because I'm watching the news and I'm seeing that people want to do away with the Electoral College. People are sending death threats to the electorates saying you have to change your vote. I can understand being disappointed that your candidate didn't win. I can understand that. I can understand being elated that your candidate won. I can understand that too. I can get behind that. What I can't understand is the hate being done in the name of your candidates. What's wrong with you people? Did you see what I just did there? I assigned the actions of a few to everyone out there. Everyone that voted for Trump is a racist. Everyone that voted for Clinton wants to kill people in Benghazi.
And has something against emails.
Come on, people. We know that neither of those things are true. And just to make sure that I'm on the right track here, that I'm not, doom and gloom, you can watch it on the news. We've got people in the streets destroying property, beating up people, all because Trump won. We've got universities, yes, institutions of higher learning, providing grief counselors and safe places for students devastated over the fact that Clinton lost.
Now, I will say this. There is a difference between having an education and being educated, though. So
this is true.
I want to throw that out there.
This is true. And did you see this morning? It even gets better. Jill Stein and Hillary Clinton have demanded a recount in certain states. I saw last night they interviewed an electorate that has resigned from being an electorate. Now, that's an honor to be picked to go cast your vote. He said he can't do it, cast his vote on the 19th, because he's afraid for him and his family. Because there's two votes in this country. There's the popular vote and there's the electoral vote. The electoral vote normally follows the popular vote. But you can become president and not have won the popular vote. It's happened before in history. Has it not, Gary?
I think 5 or 6 times.
5 or 6 times. Did you know that Bill Clinton did not win the popular vote? He only won 43% of that.
Which time he only won it once, didn't he? Okay.
43% of the time. Al Gore, another perfect example.
2000?
In 2000.
I remember that one. I was in 4th grade.
So what we have here is an electoral college. Your vote counts, but it's not the end-all of everything. So the Founding Fathers, the people that wrote the Constitution, the people we will look up to, Hamilton and Washington and Jefferson, these guys, they were fairly smart. So they put in the Constitution how we are going to do this. Article 2, Section 1 of the Constitution. Read it for yourself. You can read it out loud because we have it on paper now.
I do.
Gary, you're here as our subject matter expert. Tell us about the Electoral College and how and why we have it.
Okay. It actually goes back to the...
Oh, wait. I'm looking at my thing, and our wonderful engineer, Dick, is smiling at me going, you're not paying attention when I'm giving you countdowns. We're 15 minutes into the show. We have to take a commercial break. I want you to listen to this from my good friends over at Bitter Glitter and Padre Pirate Fishing. Dick, take it away. We'll be back in just 1 minute.
Give him what he really wants this holiday. A saltwater fishing adventure with Padre Pirate Guide Service. The ideal gift for the man who has everything. Corpus Christi's premier fishing guide, Captain Alan Ryder, will help him reel in the big catch for a day at sea he'll never forget. Redfish, trout, drum, flounder, more. His trip includes tackle, bait, refreshments. Captain's gift to you, $50 off any full or half-day trip. Reserve your gift certificate today. Call 361-877-0092 or visit PadrePirateFishing.com.
DouglasB for Bitter Glitter here. I don't want to alarm anybody, but did you know that it's 20 days until Christmas? That's right, just 20 days. And if you haven't found that perfect gift for your dysfunctional veteran, I suggest you head on over to bitterglitter.us. Yes, that's bitterglitter.us. They have the products your dysfunctional veteran wants this Christmas. Head on over. Tell them DouglasB and Veterans Air sent you.
You are listening to Veterans Air on IRLoneStar.com and Conroe's FM 104.5 and 106.1.
And you're back with Veterans Air, and we're talking with Gary Hippensteel, who's going to tell us all about the Electoral College and why we have it. Gary, educate us.
Okay. It starts with the concept of diversity. We think that that's a new image, new concept for the country. That this country was the most diverse entity ever formed into a nation to begin with. The people had come from all parts of the world. They'd come from different countries. They had different religions. They had different economic circumstances. So this was truly 13 states. Actually, at the time, they actually considered themselves, many of them, to be independent nations. And they were actually founded in different ways, their initial charters. And so when it came to the Revolutionary War, they had the common enemy. They banded together. And when the war was over, they formed the Articles of Confederation, which pretty much permitted them to be independent entities. And for anything to happen under the Articles of Confederation, everybody had to agree. It had to be a unanimous vote. And that just wasn't really going to happen.
No, that's not going to happen. No, you can't get three people to agree all on the same thing.
They were able to pass one piece of legislation during this time period, and it was the Northwest Ordinance. And the only reason that they could agree upon that was how they were going to deal with people that lived outside of the boundaries of the individual states on the western frontier.
That was past the Appalachian Mountains, right?
Correct. And so they could only pass legislation that impacted others. They couldn't agree on anything that impacted themselves. So the country was actually failing economically. In order to have a ship go from Maine down to Georgia, the ship had to pull into port at each port along the way and pay taxes in each individual state. And if you had a wagon, and it was just like toll roads, and you had to pay a tax each state, the economy was just disintegrating because it became too difficult to do business. So this is sort of the impetus for the Constitutional Convention. And you brought these entities together, and Washington was asked several times if he would chair the convention when they were planning to do this, and he kept turning them down. And finally they came to him and said, George, you just got to do this for us. And he says, okay, I'll do it on two conditions. One, it has to be done in secrecy, and the second condition is it has to be unlimited debate. And so we
sounds reasonable.
Well, we have them gather in Independence Hall in Philadelphia, and if you've ever been in the room, it now has air conditioning. That didn't used to be the case. And they're meeting in the middle of summer, and they're wearing their flannel clothes, and basically Washington has the windows shut, has the doors closed, and armed guards outside the doors. And they had unlimited debate, and to do this under Route Rules of Order, they basically have to dissolve into a committee of the whole, and under a committee of the whole, you don't keep minutes of that. So people could go from one position to another. And this was contentious. They didn't like each other. It did everything but come to blows. And the one thing that they could finally agree upon, after almost disbanding without any conclusion at all, was the Connecticut Compromise and how you established Congress. Because the big states and the small states both wanted, the small states wanted equal representation, the big states wanted representation by population. And so the Connecticut Compromise was basically one house, that we would create two houses. One would be done by popular vote, and the others would be equal representation by the states and appointed by the state legislatures, would send the senators. And so they got through that particular situation, and then it came to, how do you choose a president? You have more than one president, one for the North, one for the South? Do you have, Hamilton wanted a king. He was ready for King George Washington. So this really came down to they could not agree. So they finally, at the last minute, it came down to, well, we were able to agree on this before. Can we do it again? The same thing, only this is how we'll elect the president. Because it came down as a compromise between Congress appointing the president or the president by popular vote. And neither one of those iron birds would fly. And so the compromise is that we will have the popular vote, but then it will be done by weightings of your representation in Congress.
Okay, hold on a second. So they formed this electoral college. And what the electoral college basically does here is when you vote, your votes and the number of votes that are cast in your district are weighted towards one candidate or the other based on how many senators your state has?
Well, it's how many senators and how many representatives you have. And actually, I think there are 538 electors. There's 100 for each one of the senators, and there's 435 for each one of the representatives, and then there's 3 for the District of Columbia.
Okay. And then those electorates, they cast the vote based on what?
Okay, this is actually governed by individual state rules. While it's a federal election, it's the power of the states to determine the terms within each state.
So you're saying each state elects differently?
So they can elect differently as far as whether it's a winner-take-all or whether it can be proportional. And
Now, I did some research on this, and I found out that the way the Electoral College works can be different in each state. So whichever party garners the majority of the popular votes, regardless of how narrow the margin, whether it's 20 votes or 20 million, then that person wins. That's the vote that the Electoral College represents and places it. And for most states, every state with the exception of Maine and Nebraska? Is it Maine and Nebraska? Yes, it's Maine and Nebraska. Every single state, it's a winner-take-all, with the exception of Maine and Nebraska. These are the only two states that split their vote. So that if half of Maine voted for one candidate, he would get 2 electoral votes, and the loser would get 1 electoral vote. And that's the way it works for Maine and Nebraska. So the Electoral College, it is kind of like a popular vote, but it's not. How did the founding fathers justify that we had in somebody's telling me 6 minutes, 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I have 5 minutes to a break. Okay. So how did the founding fathers deal with the issue that we have a state, and that state, 2/3 of it voted for one person, and another third voted for another person? How did they rectify that situation? Because that's what we have here now.
Well, they really didn't deal with that particular issue within the state because they were used to, out of the Articles of Confederation, states voted as a block. And one of the things they did when they formed the Senate, one of the things that they did was each senator could vote individually. It was not a block that both senators from Texas had to agree and only got 1 vote. So each senator could vote differently. So in this particular instance, they adopted that particular rule in that each one of the electors actually can vote their own vote. And that's why you see some people actually being lobbied to change their vote. They're not legally required to vote for that particular candidate. It's a moral obligation.
So it's more of a courtesy?
It's more of a courtesy to somebody. But the popular vote does count because California has a lot more representatives, and they have a lot more because they have a larger population. So there is an element of population in there.
Is that where we get swing states from? Is the population gap between East Coast and West Coast and Middle America?
Well, that's why you can see a great deal of the map is red. Much more of the map is red, and only small parts of it are blue. But those blue areas are very high population centers.
So if we did this by popular vote, then the people on the West Coast and the East Coast that have higher population densities would be the majority voice. And their concerns would be expressed more than the country as a whole. So what we're attempting to do here is come up with a plan, a way, a mechanism to make sure that everybody's voice is heard, not just the people that are screaming the loudest. You're giving me 3 fingers. I don't know what that means.
3 minutes.
Oh, 3 minutes before break. Yes. I'm looking at the clock, and I'm seeing our wonderful engineer, Dick, smiling at me, saying, don't miss your break, and I won't, people. So anyway, back to the Electoral College. So what we have with the Electoral College is it's based on the popular vote. Your vote does count, but just because you win the popular vote does not necessarily mean that you're going to become president, because it's a weighted average of the country. Is that what I'm understanding?
Well, that's sort of the way it works. The small states, because they have an equal number of senators to the large states, have sort of a disproportionate representation. So Wyoming has, each elector represents about 89,000 people, and an elector in California represents some 240,000 people. So that elector in Wyoming is actually 3 times more important than an elector in California, but there's a whole lot more electors in California. So if you did it by popular vote, statistically it is possible that you would only need to win a stunning majority in the 5 largest cities in America, and you could become president of the United States. So that a candidate could promise to take everything out of the rest of the country and drop it in those 5 cities and win the vote. And it's this sort of a protection against this, popular seizing of the of all the goodies.
So now it comes out. Now it comes out how the the electoral college and our electorates are actually safeguarding our freedoms and liberties that we have underneath the Constitution. Dan, I think the founding fathers were pretty smart.
I just think they sat around all day owning slaves and smoking cannabis.
Dude, it's organic. I'm going to get a countdown here in a second from Engineer Dick. He's going to say, don't miss your marks. And I totally screwed up. Dick, I am so sorry that I messed you up by not sending you the proper materials for the show. Please forgive me. We have, a 1-minute break coming up? Good. Now, 1-minute break, I'm going to have some cake, and I'll tell you how wonderful it is. Don't go away, because we are coming back. We're going to talk a little bit more with Gary in the Electoral College, and then I'm going to talk to you about the American Legion Holiday Meals Program. This is something that Veterans Air is getting behind, and we want you to know about it so you can get behind it too. We'll be right back, right after these messages.
We'll be right back with more news, talk, and commentary from Veterans Air. The Veterans Hour on IRLoneStar.com and Conroe's FM 104.5 and 106.1.
DouglasB for Bitter Glitter here. I don't want to alarm anybody, but did you know that it's 20 days until Christmas? That's right, just 20 days. And if you haven't found that perfect gift for your dysfunctional veteran, I suggest you head on over to bitterglitter.us. Yes, that's bitterglitter.us. They have the products your dysfunctional veteran wants this Christmas. Head on over. Tell them DouglasB and Veterans Air sent you.
Give him what he really wants this holiday. A saltwater fishing adventure with Padre Pirate Guide Service. The ideal gift for the man who has everything. Corpus Christi's premier fishing guide, Captain Alan Ryder, will help him reel in the big catch for a day at sea he'll never forget. Redfish, trout, drum, flounder, more. His trip includes tackle, bait, refreshments. Captain's gift to you, $50 off any full or half-day trip. Reserve your gift certificate today. Call 361-877-0092 or visit PadrePirateFishing.com.
You're listening to Lone Star Community Radio with Veterans Air here on IRLoneStar.com and, of course, Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1. We're going to do a quick weather and traffic break and then get back to the show. Right now, traffic conditions on I-45 northbound and southbound are good to go all the way through Montgomery County. In fact, I do not see any accidents or incidences being reported in Montgomery County. On with weather, 63 degrees outside, humidity's at 65%. This afternoon will be partly sunny with a high near 66. West winds around 5 miles an hour. Later tonight will be mostly cloudy with a low of 46. Tomorrow's forecast is mostly cloudy, and then we have a 50% chance on Wednesday night with the high being 66 and the low being 44 tomorrow. You're listening to Lone Star Community Radio. We're Montgomery County's community radio station. Don't forget you can listen to us worldwide at IRLoneStar.com, and make sure to download our app for your smartphone and devices. We're going to get back to Veterans Air right after this announcement.
An estimated 1 in 10 births will result in a neonatal intensive care stay, also known as the NICU. Overnight, a family can find themselves and their newborn baby in a critical situation. The Mila Foundation financially and spiritually assists families in need. If you would like to volunteer or become a monthly sponsor, please visit us at www.themilafoundation.org. Again, that's www.themilafoundation.org, because every life matters.
Back to Veterans Air. I'm your host, DouglasB, along with my co-host, Dangerous Dan, the Santa Man.
That's me.
That is you. And you're looking sharp in your Santa suit.
Thank you. It is really hot in the suit, I have to tell you.
Go ahead. Open it up some. We'll do the pictures after the show.
Oh, no, I'll be okay. I'm just, complaining.
Oh,
For the sake of complaining.
that's why you're here. We also have with us in the studio Gary Hippensteel, who's been educating us on the Electoral College, and we're gonna sum that up. Gary, tell us, how did we get to where we are today, where Hillary Clinton wins the popular vote and Donald Trump is the president-elect?
Welcome to the world of compromise. We've talked about there are elements of popular vote, and there's elements of representation by states, and equal representation by states. So when you add the two together, there's a specific formula. You need 270 electoral college votes in order to win, and it's really becomes a game of politics. You say the Electoral College was designed, the founding fathers were going to make everybody campaign in every state. No, there are safe states that they really never show up in, and it's those key swing states that get the majority of the campaigning. And everybody knows the rules. It's been there since 1787. Get used to it. That's how we play. And they counted them up, or they're going to count them up here in a few days, and it is fully expected that Donald Trump will be the winner by having more than 270 electoral college votes.
There you have it. The voice of reason, that the election was fair and just, and we're just gonna have to learn to live with it. The sun is gonna come up tomorrow. Oh, can I sing my song, Dan?
Yeah, let me take off my headphones.
Let me tell you, it doesn't matter what happens on January 20th, because after January 20th, the sun will come out tomorrow. You just have to hang on till tomorrow, come what may. Yes, I know I'm pitch and tone perfect. You got to see the look on Engineer Dick's face. This is just priceless. Gary, I want to thank you for being here today. Don't go anywhere, because we may need you on some other stuff, but we need to get into the holiday meals program. I'm still looking over there for the clock. I'm not good with change. I want to talk to you all out there about something that is near and dear to my heart, and something that Veterans Air takes intricate part in, and it is the American Legion Post 411 Holiday Meals Program. Now, every year our post provides meals and some little goodies to 2 needy veteran or active duty families here in the area. And this is all funded by the members of the American Legion Post 411. And there's only like 210 of us. So every time we meet, we do a 50-50 drawing. You buy a ticket for $1. At the end of the meeting, somebody pulls a ticket out of the hat there, and if it's your ticket, you get half of the pot. The other half of the money goes into this holiday meals program. Now, we meet 12 times a year. How much money do you think that we raise in that 50-50 drawing?
Do you actually want me to guess?
I want you to guess.
At least $1.
At least $1. And nobody ever takes their half of the pot. They donate it all.
I would take my half.
I did. I won last meeting. I left the pot there, but there was an auxiliary gift of peppers and tomatoes from the commander's garden, and let me tell you, they were good. So anyway, this year, the American Legion is trying to expand the program and provide more than just a meal for these families. They want to give them gift cards to the local grocery stores with enough funds to buy groceries for a month. Because you know what? One meal is just one meal. And if we're going to help somebody, we should help somebody. So this year, the American Legion opened it up to sponsorships. You can go on to the AmericanLegionConroe.org website and sponsor. Donate money, donate time, donate materials, whatever it is. Whatever it is that you have that you want to provide, American Legion will gladly accept it. The same place, you can go over there and you can nominate a family that you know that needs a little extra help during this holiday season.
So how do they pick the families out of all that were nominated?
The families are interviewed. They're vetted, if you will, to make sure that there's actually a need there for them. And we want to give it to the most needy family that actually needs it. Well, as I said, we opened it up, or the American Legion opened it up for sponsorships. And this year, HEB has stepped up to the plate, as they often do, in support of the Post 411 and our community in general. The good people at HEB have provided 2 gift cards so these families can shop and get the things that they need to make this holiday event just a little bit special. So I want to send a special thank you to the store manager, Zach, at HEB, and that's the HEB Plus, I believe, on the corner of 105 and 336 North. And I also want to shout out to Shayla Elder. She's the HEB area coordinator for supporting us. I got to tell you, I love this community. I do. And I love the businesses in this community. Because every time I go someplace and say, we need some help in this, they dig deep. So this year is going to be a little bit better for the 2 families. They're going to get a gift card to HEB, and they're going to get a gift card to probably Walmart or someplace else so they can get some other things. Because you know what? I've been there. I wasn't poor, but we were hurting. So to get a little something special for your kid that you can't afford, but that he wants, I think that's a special thing. I think that builds pride and sustainability within inside a person. So anyway, getting back to it, you can go over to thank you, Dan, www.americanlegionconroe.org and go ahead and nominate a family or volunteer for some hours or a donation is gladly appreciated. The families will be selected, and rumor has it, I don't know, but they usually do this sometime during the second week of December. The families will be notified, and we'll go out there and present them with the things that they need to do this. I want to talk about what's happening in Conroe coming up, and I want to direct you people over to an awesome website. It's called conroetoday.com. That's where our stuff is coming from. It's coming from conroetoday.com.
Oh, okay.
And what they have here is the Miracle on 34th Street is happening December 18th. It's a theater production.
Where at?
Well, let me click the link and find out where that's happening because it's featured. It is happening
the Crichton
34th
Theater.
Street.
The Crichton Theater.
Oh, the Crichton Theater.
I mean
Next door
the
to
place right next door?
Next door. That's how I know.
Dick, welcome.
Hey!
Welcome to the show. It's about time you
I just
showed
figured
up.
I'd help you out there.
Yes, help me out here because I'm reading from it. We also have the Wood Forest Arts and Crafts Show, December 9th. Pancakes with Santa. Dangerous Dan. The girls need to go have Pancakes with Santa on December 10th at the Woodlands Children's Museum. So go have Pancakes with Santa. Breakfast with St. Nick is at the Woodlands Children's Museum. Operation Santa Paws for all you pet owners. And yes, I'm going because of my posse. I saw you going. Are you going to go to this stuff?
Actually, I was going to say, can you bring children? They count as pets, don't they?
Are you dissing my girls?
They're my girls.
Oh? Have you talked to Patriot about that lately?
No.
Because she seems to think they're hers. Where was I doing? Oh, Operation Santa Paws. Yes, I'm going to Operation Santa Paws. I will see you there. It's at the Mercedes-Benz in the Woodlands on December 10th. Let's see what else we have. How about a Christmas concert, January 6th? No, we're still in December, right? Mingle and Jingle Holiday Party, Children's Books on Wheels is happening December 17th. December 17th. Excuse me. Let's see what we have happening this weekend. Dan, we're
Yes.
going.
Oh, okay.
The High Caliber Gun and Knife Show, December 10th. That's this Saturday.
This Saturday?
At the Lone Star Convention Center. You heard it here first, the High Caliber Gun and Knife Show, because I just did inventory and I am seriously lacking ammo, and the lack of ammo really disturbs me. Ammo, Second Amendment. How do you feel about the Second Amendment there, Gary?
Second Amendment was designed to protect the people against the government. And
No. The government's our friend.
the government was probably not man's friend for most of history. And The purpose of government is actually the sole purpose. Why do you ever have a government? It's basically for protection against the outsiders and protection against each other inside of, and that's really why you establish a government. And then sometimes the government needs to, fear the people more than the people fear the government.
So what are you saying here, Gary? The Second Amendment wasn't for hunter rights?
I'm afraid not. It was basically, they had just come from an oppressive situation that they had to fight a war over, where they took up arms. In fact, the shirt I'm wearing today comes from the Concord National Historical Site, where the shot heard round the world was fired to start the Revolutionary War.
Oh, that's the original 13 colonies, right?
The original 13 colonies. If you have a chance in Concord, Massachusetts, it is a wonderful video presentation and a great site to visit.
So let's recap what we did here today.
Absolutely.
We talked about the Electoral College, and we determined here that this election, for better or worse, was a practice of the principles of the Constitution of the United States of America. That we did it fair, that we did it square. We may not like the results. You may like the results. But this is what it is. And I brought in the Second Amendment because I want people to think about this. We have a Second Amendment, the right to bear arms for a tyrannical government. Do you think your government is tyrannical?
Yes.
Then you have two choices that you can make here. The first choice is guaranteed to you by the Constitution. The rights to address the government of your grievances. You can do that.
Doesn't mean they have to listen.
Doesn't mean they have to listen. And when that government becomes tyrannical and you decide that you're going to take up arms, and I am not advocating for this, and you decide to take up arms because your way of running the government is going to be better, we have the Second Amendment that allows you to have those weapons. But America, I want you to think long and hard. I'm serious about this. I'm talking to both sides of the aisle here. I want you to think long and hard because it is very, very easy to destroy, but it is also awful difficult to build something new.
Tomorrow being Pearl Harbor Day, there were two quotes attributed to Admiral Yamamoto, who commanded the Japanese fleet that attacked Pearl Harbor. When he wanted to launch the second attack against Pearl Harbor, he was called off by Central Command back in Tokyo. And as they turned the ships around, he uttered the quote, that I fear we have awakened the sleeping giant. The second quote that he's also was attributed to Yamamoto was that you cannot invade the United States because there's a gun behind every blade of grass.
Damn Skippy. Some of mine are actually underneath the bed. There's another quote, talking about quotes, that I want to bring up, and it's by Churchill. And Churchill said during the Second World War, he's talking to his people, that we have nothing to fear but fear itself. I want you to think about these quotes.
Was that Churchill?
That was Churchill. Was that not Churchill?
No, I want to say that was a Roosevelt. Franklin D., I think.
No, I believe it was Roosevelt. I could be wrong. Whoever knows, call us and let us know. Either way, you have nothing to fear but fear itself. We're working ourselves up into a tizzy here in America, and we have nothing to fear but fear itself. Dan?
Doug?
We got to thank our sponsors.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, we're not going to have a show.
Just
Because they pay for this.
Just to let you know, it was Franklin D. Roosevelt in his inaugural address.
Thank you.
Just
Thank
so
you.
you know.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Delner D. Roosevelt.
I was right.
All right, so I was wrong once. You're going to harp on this forever now, aren't you?
I am.
I thought so.
All right, let me give a shout out to our show sponsors before I forget. Veterans Air is made possible by the support of East Meets West Productions, full service business and marketing consultants, helping vets start and fund their own business for 25 years. For more information, call 361-904-0044. And by the American Legion, Conroe Post 411. Post 411 meets the second Tuesday of each month at 7 p.m. in the Military Honors Room at Ryan's Restaurant on Loop 336. Visit AmericanLegionConroe.org for more information.
Outstanding. Yes, we love our sponsors. We're going to have a new sponsor here too soon.
Oh, who's
Dan,
that?
Yes. I believe that BitterGlitter.us is actually going to become an official sponsor of the show. Have you visited their website?
I am not going to lie. I have not.
Go visit BitterGlitter.us.
I was holding out till they fully committed to the show.
Hopefully, we'll have a full commitment by the end of the year. But if you haven't seen it, you have to go over there because let me tell you, their memes, their T-shirts and whatnot, they are totally us. They are totally us.
Totally us?
Totally us.
All right.
I like the one from last night. I saw a preview of. I showed it to you this morning.
Oh, yeah.
It says, you are in desperate need of an emotional jockstrap.
I would agree with that statement.
I would. So we're coming up on the end of the show here. Am I too early or am I too late, Dick? I got 5 minutes. Oh, good. 5 minutes. I could talk 5 minutes more. So, is that with my song or without my song? So I can talk for another 5 minutes or not? I can talk for another 2 minutes. Okay. So I want to talk about next month's show real quick. We're going to be in here. We're in here January 3rd at 1 p.m., and we're going to do two major things here. We're going to talk the 25 top resolutions America should make, and we're going to have our blue ribbon panel of dysfunctional veterans, best cures for that New Year's Eve hangover. And I'm going to post those also on the site. And if you have a hangover recipe, please drop us a line over at VeteransAir.us. Well, that about wraps up the show. Remember, tune in January 3rd at 1 p.m. because we're going to be here. Some of us may still be hungover, and I'm looking at Dan.
Don't look at me.
Okay, good, because I don't drink.
I gave that life up.
That's right. I only do Strongbow. As we leave today, and we leave thinking about a lot of things, but as always, I want to leave you with this awesome song by the Warrior Song Project. You can go and you can download it from VeteransAir.us or on iTunes. And while we're listening to this, let us remember our brothers and sisters that are in uniform and today are standing in harm's way for our freedoms and liberty. If you are wearing the uniform, I want to say thank you. I want to tell you that I'm proud of you. And until next month, stay vigilant and stay safe.
With a need to bleed you when the light goes green. Best believe I'm in the zone to be. From a yin to my yang to Z. Put a grin on my chin when you come to me. Cause I'll win, I'm a one of a kind. And I'll bring death to the place you're about to be. Another river of blood running under my feet. Forged in a fire lit long ago. Stand next to me, you'll never stand alone. I'm last to leave, but the first to go. Lord, make me dead before you make me whole. I feed on the fear of the devil inside of the enemy faces in my sight. Aim with a hand, shoot with a mind, kill with a heart like Arctic ice. I am a soldier and I'm marching on. I am a soldier and I'm marching on. I am a warrior, this is my song. I am a warrior and this is my song.
We're going to cut